How you doing, man? Nobody would be surprised.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday, July 5th Selectmen's meeting. Could you all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Public comment, Chief?
I just wanted to, I guess, give an update on the fire from June 24th on Manor Drive. I'm sure you're all aware that it was the first fatal fire in Groveland since 1966. Couple of chain of events that happened at 2:52 p.m. Engine 1 was dispatched for a medical. While at the medical, the tones went out for a second call for the fire. The officer on duty on Engine 1 told the dispatcher to get mutual aid from West Newbury and Georgetown right away with 2 engines because we were down an engine. Ladder 1, Engine 3 responded along with the 2 engines from out of town and the police. Police got on scene first. Chief Gillen was actually the first one on the scene, and he let dispatch know to let the fire department know they had a working fire. There was fire on the first floor, and there were reported people trapped. Police officers went to the back of the house and found that a grandmother and her granddaughter was trapped on the second floor. Police got to the top. Officer Italian, as you all, I'm sure if you know him, his arms are bigger than my legs. He's very physically fit, and he actually pulled himself to the second floor in a pull-up manner and got to the second floor, got them to the other side. Under fire conditions, ladder 1 got on scene, and with the assistance of another police officer and the 2 firefighters, they got a ladder to the rear and got them off. The reason they were not out initially is because the young girl tried to get back into the second floor for a rabbit. 2 hours later, we found the rabbit. The rabbit is alive and well. We don't know how it survived, but it did. But we had multiple companies come in for mutual aid. It went to 3 alarms. Unfortunately, the room of origin, there was a gentleman that lived there that was known to us as being ill, and he did not make it. And that was the room of origin. So he was, unfortunately, probably gone before we even got notified in the 911 calls.
Anybody got any questions of the chief, Kathy?
Well, first of all, I'm grateful that our first responders were there, our police and our fire, and I understand it was the West Newbury crew that was on standby from the high school that made it there.
Correct.
Quickly.
West Newbury's engine was the first engine on scene.
Yes.
They left Pentucket School.
Yes, and I heard about Chris L'Italian, Officer L'Italian, on the morning news, and spoke to Chief Gillen about his act of heroism. But, of course, he couldn't have done that without his team there of the police officers and the first responders who
Correct.
helped him get up there and then helped get them all down to safety. And God bless them all for taking that kind of a risk with explosions happening in the building as they were doing that. And today I went over because I needed to see that balcony, and it's high up there. And it's scary to even see it now in its condition. And I'm grateful that they were able to save 2 lives, and I think that's a big deal, and I hope that we can at some point honor all of those, that whole team, the police officers, Chief Gillen, the team from the West Newbury High School, and our firefighters who were there on the scene that got the ladder up and got those people down to safety, because they wouldn't have made it otherwise, no question. They were panicked looking for a rabbit. right? But I was, as I was standing there, a resident came up and expressed concern for the residents there, that there is some concerns from residents in those apartments now about what will happen, how will they get out in a fire? And Rebecca was good enough to reach out to the building inspector, and I know he spoke with you as well. And I would hope that going forward, I would like to see a productive meeting with the owner of the manor where we can have an open discussion of, I know their grandfather, I know we can't go and do some things, but I think that a discussion of the safety of this apartment, it's beautiful up there, but we want to make sure everybody feels safe too. And we're risking our first responders, our police officers, our firefighters, as well as the residents, if we don't have some meetings and talk about what else could be done to make it safer.
I agree 100%, and I know that since the new owners have taken over, they've done a lot of updates and upgrades, and they've done some renovations to improve the property. I'm sure if it comes to public safety, they'd be more than willing to work with us.
That's good to hear, because I would like to make sure that we do follow up and have that meeting with them.
Yes, I'm gonna get together with Sam. I got the email this afternoon from Sam, and I told him 100% I was on board with him.
Fantastic. And again, I hope we can honor everybody that was part of that moment of heroism, because again, they
Yes.
were doing that while things were exploding, from what I understand, and that's something.
The apartment of origin, he was known to be on oxygen. And in our investigation that day, we found 3 oxygen tanks that had exploded. So those were the explosions that we were hearing.
Jason, do you have anything to add?
Not this time, sir.
Dan?
Just thank Chief, Gillen and yourself and all involved. Could have been worse. In terms of response, is there a way to have a backup if one of our engine's out? Is there, other than mutual aid, would that have saved us seconds, or it was as quick as it could have been, and it doesn't take much?
It doesn't take much. And because where West Newbury was with their engine staff doing that detail, it was as quick as we would have got there. So there was no delay in the response as far as that's concerned.
Okay.
The teamwork and the effort of the Public Safety Division, and I always call it the Public Safety Division in town, Chief Gillen and I meet consistently discussing our teamwork and how we can get things working better. You go to medical calls, the police are on scene along with us. They all have their first responder bags. The police department and the fire department in Essex County as a public safety division, in my opinion, is second to none. We work together, fantastic.
I agree with you. The other issue is building codes, I'm not an expert on that, but some buildings are grandfathered in, and
Right.
I don't know if that unit had a second means of egress, but in the absence of that, I don't know if there's something else that could, help out, some sort of ladders or something like that, but, some way to get out of the second floor if the stairway's on fire, so I think that needs to be talked about.
Oh, yes, and like I said, Sam already reached out to me, and him and I are gonna meet.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, anything to add?
Just want to say thank you. Excellent job.
Thank you.
Not easy.
No, the only thing I can add is they did a great job, and they did what they were supposed to, and
Everybody did their job, some went above and beyond. I agree 100%.
thank you. I think we're all set.
Excellent,
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Approval of the warrants. Mark, want to give that a try?
Yeah, we're gonna try. All right, so let's make a motion for the payroll warrant 22-53 in the amount of $234,478.54.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? None? All in favor? This will be a roll call. Jason? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself? Yes. Bill warrant. We gotta do a roll call. We got, Jason's on, remote.
Now, let's see. Okay, make a motion for bill, pay bill warrant 22-53 in the amount of $1,352,000 and $352,037.61. And the breakdown comes to $275,254.49 for the town. Pentucket is $1,032,639.92. EE withholding, wait, is that the same thing?
It's like on two lines, but it's just EE.
Oh.
Yeah.
EE withholding, that's in bills paid to vendors is $4,000, $4,011.45. Special revenue and revolving grants is $15,681.75. And then the water and sewer is $24,450.
Is there a
Second.
second on that?
Second.
And a second. All right, no discussion. Jason? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
And I'm yes. Unanimous. Bill warrant 2301.
Yeah, what is,
That on there?
no, that's what I was kind of questioning on that.
There's two bill warrants? My error. Let me go look.
They're right here.
That's why I wasn't sure.
Okay. I'll just read that one. I missed one. There. But there's only just two things to sign.
Nope, because of all of the bills we need to pay by
Okay,
July
so
1.
2253, right?
Yep.
Bill warrant. So bill warrant 22-53, $534,462.47.
The breakdown.
But he read this one.
Yep.
Oh, we're just reading an additional breakdown. So the total is correct that you read, the 1 million?
Yes.
Okay, and one more breakdown. That's all, one more breakdown. So the town, 89,590.78. Water sewer, I was stepping that, 175,977.22. Light bills, 182,640.48. And grants and revolving, 86,253.99. And it totals to the 1.3 million.
Okay, that's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the gas prices right now. Earlier today, I went to the nearby supermarket, and that's why I'm here tonight. When I went to the produce aisle and I saw the price of the avocado was $4, immediately I broke into a cold sweat.
Can you hold up with,
Shameful that we as Americans are no longer allowed.
Well, that was interesting.
what happened?
I don't know.
Avocados are through the roof, apparently.
Well, they have to do public,
No longer granted or given the God-granted freedom of chips and guac.
chips and what?
This is a disgrace to all Americans. $3 for avocados is a disgrace.
Okay.
Where'd you go?
The future selectmen.
All right, there's a motion and a second.
Yes.
Jason, you in favor? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
I'm yes. Unanimous. Thank you. Approval of the minutes, May 9th, 2022.
Motion to table?
A
Minutes
motion
aren't
to table.
Mr. Chair, I do have an update on the minutes. We actually do not have the minutes for May 9th, June 6th, and June 21st completed as of yet. The minutes clerk has taken a new job, so she fell a bit behind, but she is planning to get those finalized for our next meeting.
Okay, can we do a table on all three, the 9th, the 6th, the 21st?
Right, motion to table?
Who seconded it?
I'll second that.
Seconded. Okay, motion to table. Jason? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Unanimous. Appointments of the board. Appoint Richard Fitzgerald of 180 School Street, Groveland, to the position of van driver with the Council on Aging effective July 5th, 2022. Part-time position, rate of $15.73 an hour, and subject to a successful query check. We have his paperwork here. And we need a motion?
Yes, I've read his resume. It's very impressive, and I thank him for coming forward for this position. So I would like to make a motion for Richard Fitzgerald to be hired as a part-time van driver for the Groveland Council on Aging, Mondays and Tuesdays, 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m., 13 hours per week at a rate of $15.73 per hour, subject to a query check.
There's a motion, a second,
I'll second that.
and a second. Jason? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Unanimous. Oh, myself, yes. Appointment of Mitch Mahoney of 222 Main Street, Groveland, to the Recreation Committee effective July 1st. And we have a letter from Mitchell Mahoney indicating that he'd like to serve on the Recreation Committee. We need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Mitch Mahoney to the Recreation Committee effective immediately. It's a one-year appointment, right, until June 30th, 2023, and thank him for volunteering. It's a great way to get involved in our town.
And a second?
I'll second
A
that.
second. Okay, no further discussion. Jason? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yeah.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Unanimous. Votes of the board. Ratify the Groveland Police Patrolmen's Association Coalition of Local Police, to 420 contract for 2022 to 2025.
Mr. Chairman, I understand that was not available for this meeting, so I was going to make a motion to table it.
Okay, motion to table. Is there a second on the table?
Yeah, I'll second that.
And a second. Jason? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yep.
Myself, yes. Tabled. Property use application, Clean River Project, July 30th, 2022, August 13th, 2022, and the week of August 1st through August 5th, and August 15th through August 1st, August 5th, August 15th through August 19th at the Pines Recreation Area. And we have the property use permit from the Green River Project. Anybody here to speak on that project? I'm here. Yeah. Okay, can you come up to the podium and identify yourself?
Hi, my name's Mike Bacher. I'm a resident of Groveland and a member of the board of the Clean River Project. You may recall we were here a few months ago to talk about the grant we received from the Essex County Community Fund to support this cleanup effort of the shorelines of the Merrimack River in Groveland specifically. So we plan to do 2 Saturdays that are open to the public. We have been receiving requests to participate in that. And then the weekdays will be group events, local businesses and organizations like the Boy Scouts, Haverhill High School Crew Club, and perhaps Chesterton. They haven't committed yet. So I have a flyer that we've made up and have distributed around the town. I'm happy to share that with you. We're soliciting participation.
Thank you.
The timing will be roughly 8:30 a.m. to 12:30. We have to work around the low tides. We're going to be bringing boats in that will take the participants to select locations. We provide lifting devices, picking devices, plastic bags, give them a security or a safety briefing. We'll set up a small canopy tent to have some education materials about the river and how to keep it clean. And we will report all of the material that we pick up. And that's about it.
Okay, any questions? Jason, you have anything?
Yes, I was just wondering if there's any anticipation on interruption on a boat ramp.
No. We'll be launching the boat, but we'll keep it to the side. They're pontoon boats. They can be beached.
Did that answer the question, Jason?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Anybody else? I guess not. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
So we need a vote on the property use permit.
I'll make a motion for the favorable for the property use permit in the Pines Recreation Area by the Clean River Project on the dates that they've listed, and thank them for doing this wonderful cleanup.
Okay, second,
I'll second that.
and a second. Any discussion? None. Jason?
Yes, and thank you for your efforts.
Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself? Yes, unanimous. Thank you.
Okay.
Property use permit application, Katrina Mancini for Family Community Connections for weekly play group at the Pines Recreation Area. Is Katrina here?
I do not believe that she is here, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have this, looks like Wednesday mornings, 10 a.m., July to October of 2022.
I did receive an email, and so currently the group is using VZ Memorial Park, and there is the summer camp that is over at the park, so therefore they're just looking for a temporary location, so this is not until the October timeframe. She assumes that they'll be back over at VZ by the end of August.
Okay. And it says here for free children's story time and play group provided by Community Action, Family and Community Connection. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. We accept this property use permit.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I did have just one point of discussion. I think it's a wonderful endeavor, and I did look them up. Actually, we're already listed on their schedule. But when they do it, like at Georgetown, they tell people to just bring blankets to sit on. And my only concern would be that we don't rope off those picnic tables so that if, somebody comes to watch their children on the playground, they should still be able to sit at the picnic table if that's where they wanted to sit. I mean, obviously, it's a wonderful thing for children to have story time and play group, so I want to say yes to this. I just want to make sure that they share the facility with any residents that might come down. I don't want it to be marked reserved. Is that something that we can do? Did she understand? Because there's more than one picnic table, right? There is. I just looked down there. Yeah, okay, so.
Okay, anybody else? None? No further discussion? Jason, you have anything on that?
Yeah, I just want to thank them. This is I think this is a great thing, and I think it takes a tremendous amount of work to put these things together and follow through and make them work. So I really applaud their effort. Appreciate it.
I couldn't hear him. Could you hear him?
Yep, he just applauded their efforts to put something of this nature together.
Okay. Anybody else? Do we have a motion? Did we have one?
Yep, we did.
And Kathy, I think, seconded it.
Yep.
All in favor? Jason?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself? Yes. Okay. Field use permit application, Nicole Marisolo, Summer Soccer Camp, July 19th through July 21st, 5 to 6 p.m. July 26th through July 28th, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Shanahan Field, and we have that paperwork here from Nicole. Nicole, you want to get up and explain something?
Hi, my name's Nicole Marisol. I live at 169 Seven Star Road. I am on the board of Groveland Youth Soccer, as well as run the basketball program in town from K to 6. And I also coach the Groveland Youth Soccer. I grew up playing soccer. I just want to give the kids another option outside of the youth sports and I'm only doing females currently, to give them a little bit more exposure to soccer like I had when I was growing up. So I'm just looking for a permit to do 2 clinics. One would be 3 and 4, grade 3 and 4, and then the next week would be grade 5 and 6.
Anybody got any questions for Nicole? None.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, they're not questions. I mean, you've done a great job putting your application together. You're
Thanks.
a Division I player, so we can't ask for better than that. That's fantastic, but you're not doing this as a nonprofit, so, and actually, we're moving towards just some kind of a use fee for our parks and recreation areas, so that we can keep them up, because we do pay, for the highway and the trash and the insurance on them all. So, I think that we should discuss a fee for the use of the fields. I
Okay.
definitely think you should do this. It sounds great. I'm sure that you'll get a lot of
Okay.
children, and they'll have a fantastic time. So they can just be beginners even, right, and just
Yeah,
learn to
any
play
level.
soccer. Yep,
Yes.
that's wonderful. Great program.
Right.
So I was speaking with the town administrator before the meeting and just trying to get a sense for, because we haven't formalized a fee schedule yet, except for like softball, where we turn the lights on and this and that, and so, but it seemed like some of the towns charge, for 50 or less, like $1,000, but that seemed like a lot. So I was leaning more towards like half of that
Okay.
as a one-time thing. If
Okay.
that works with what you're doing. I haven't seen your program before, so I don't know how it works for you. I don't know what expenses you have to incur, but it would be helpful to us towards the maintenance of all the fields, if that would work out.
I can. How much did she say?
In other words,
I'm actually
okay.
a little bit hard of hearing.
that's all right. So what I'm thinking is that some towns charge like $1,000. That seemed like a lot. For like a
So
week.
I'm only charging my first year
$60 a
$60 per
Right.
kid.
So it's $60, and it's like for an hour. So
Yeah.
it would seem you could hopefully fund a $500 fee for for the whole week, for the whole thing, not
For the
each-
whole thing. My thing is it's my first year doing it,
So you
so
don't know
I
how
don't know
much.
what my numbers would look like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it's up to you guys. So
Well, we
it
don't
would
know
definitely
which- yeah.
deter me from doing it, because I don't know what I would be making in my first year. If you were to say to me next year, with how was your success, what were we looking for fees, I would be able to give you a better idea, but I don't know how many kids will be actually signing up
Right.
for it.
I totally understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I do understand what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah, why don't you go up to the podium?
Yes, sure.
This is my husband.
Slash business agent. No, it's actually, so, is there a fee, I know you don't have a fee schedule yet, but is there a way that, because it's only 3 nights,
Right,
2 weeks in a row, which is 6 hours of field use time?
yes.
So it's only 3 hours the first week, 3 hours the second week. Is there a
Right.
way to do like a per hour charge versus like a flat fee?
She's on it. Yeah, if that works out better, and even working with you as you get going. 'Cause
Yeah, I mean,
totally
I'm
don't want to
open
wipe
to-
out your program.
Yeah,
We're trying to have some contributions coming in towards the maintenance of the fields, and we're trying to formalize a more, a better approach to maintaining these fields so that we can guarantee that they'll be in good shape for you.
There is another clinic that happens in August.
I saw that one too.
Do they pay a fee as well?
The Seacoast, because they're private too, right?
Yes.
Yes, they would.
Correct.
They would as well.
Yeah.
Yes. They have not, I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you.
that's
We've
one of the
been-
reasons why I was trying to get involved, is because Seacoast is separate from what we do in town.
Okay.
It's a much bigger operation, and
Yeah.
a bigger undertaking, and
And those were the questions that I asked the board, the soccer board, like, are they paying any fees? And they're like, no. the
No,
answer was
no, they're not yet, but,
Yet. Alright.
but they are a more bigger organization, and they go after the players that are ready to compete at a higher level, and I like what
Right.
you're doing, which is bringing it down to make it fun and get kids
Yeah.
involved in it, so totally want to support that. Can we do anything that works off of some of the charges we charge for softball, or anything?
You could go per diem and say $25 per session.
Per
How's-
session.
Does
That's
that
good,
sound
Yeah,
all right?
Yeah,
that's
that's
actually,
great.
yeah, that's
Workable?
pretty fair.
Okay,
it's more
Yeah,
than fair.
perfect.
well, we need to vote it.
Yeah, you need to put that in the motion.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that, a fee of $25 per session.
Okay.
The motion, there a second,
I'll second that.
and a second. Any further discussion? Yes. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, we don't have a fee schedule, so it's kind of ad lib, ad hoc here. So I think the amount of time you're doing it, it's kind of we've waived fees for everything from weddings up VC to alcohol fees. So I think it's de minimis, for what you're doing. Not to say that what you're doing is de minimis itself. It's important for children, but we charge $25, I think, to use the Pines, but the baseball field's a lot more maintenance than just grass, I think it is. And I don't know. I mean, my kids played soccer over at Shanahan for years, and I don't ever recall it. I was on the board several years back, and I don't ever remember charging a fee for Shanahan use. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think until the board comes up with a uniform schedule, I think your fee ought to be waived, because we don't have a fee schedule. It's made up on the QT. $25 isn't gonna make or break our $20 million budget after the spending I've seen in the last year. So, and I'm usually the conservative one, but I don't think in your case we need the fee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Do you want to propose an amendment to do away with the $25 fee?
Well, I don't know that we
That's
have
not
one.
how you do it.
I mean,
Go ahead, Dan.
have we ever had a fee in this circumstance? I mean, is
Yes, we did charge a fee this year for the softball. Was it softball or
Softball?
baseball? There was a baseball league.
We did the cricket.
I'm sorry, the cricket. So we began this season, I think you maybe weren't at the meeting, I don't
Nope.
know. But we began the season by talking about the fact that we have not been charging fees, so that we don't have the money to pay for the janitor's overtime at the Pines Recreation. We don't have the money to pay for the extra lawn care that the highway department takes on every year. We have to start somewhere. I just, if we keep pushing it off and we never make any progress, then like you said, Seacoast, which is a highly profitable private organization, is gonna come in and pay nothing. So I just as soon charge something very low to the hometown resident who's going to do something fantastic in order to justify these private organizations that make a lot of money off of soccer coming in, and I welcome them to use our fields when we don't have use of them, but I think they should pay. And I think it has to start somewhere else. We can't afford to pay for the workers that we need to keep up with all this. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Jason, do you have anything to add?
Not at this time.
Mark, do you have anything?
No, I see both sides of it, but, working with the highway department firsthand, knowing how everybody leaves this stuff on the field and it ruins the blades and stuff, it does cost us money, and, I mean, I wish we had this set ahead of time, but I agree with Kathy, we gotta start someplace, and $25 seems pretty fair to me.
Okay, per session.
Session, yeah.
Rebecca, could you read that motion again?
I said
You made the motion, but I
Yeah.
was asking, Rebecca, did you take notes?
I didn't on that, but I remember that it was just to charge, to approve the permit, for the soccer session and charge $25 per session.
Okay. All right, there's a motion and there was a second. No further discussion. We'll vote. Jason?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Opposed.
Mark?
Yes.
And I'm yes. 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Granted.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
It's right down here.
Hmm?
It's right there, the whole field,
Yeah.
so.
Next, Board of Selectmen member appointment to the School Building Committee. We need a member of the Board of Selectmen.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Dan McDonald,
All right, there's a motion.
building committee.
I'll second that. Board of Selectmen, member appointment to the School Building Committee. There's a motion, there's a second, any discussion? Jason, you have anything?
Who we appointing?
He wants to know who's being appointed.
Dan McDonald. Kathy, any discussion?
Well, I know Rebecca goes to the school building committee meetings. Is this going to replace our town administrator?
No, we need a member of the Board of Selectmen along with the town administrator. And Bill O'Neill was our representative, but he's no longer on the board. So we need a selectman member.
Okay, and what is the role of the selectman member on this board? To just report back to us as to what goes on in the meetings?
I
That's
thought
what-
he was he was a regular voting member, and then he report back at the meetings on, the Board of Selectmen meeting on what went on.
What do they vote on?
They vote on, the project progression, change orders, things of that nature.
Okay, well, as long as we're going to get a report back like Bill O'Neill used to bring us, because I would certainly want to know votes that are taken and whether or not they reflect,
Okay.
the will of the town on this building project.
Anybody else? Ready to vote? Jason? Jason?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm a little concerned just with the attendance with the Board of Selectmen meeting. I would hate to see Groveland lose their voice by non-attendance. Is that something that you really are gonna be dedicated to going to, Dan?
Yeah, well, in case anyone wants to know, I had COVID on June 9th, so sorry I missed a couple of meetings, Jason, apologize. My wife had it and my son had it too, so, sorry to the people of Groveland that I left you high and dry for the last couple weeks. Yeah, I'll show up at the meetings, and not for nothing, it ought to be at the tail end of what they're doing over there, because the school's scheduled to open in September. So, if anyone, if you trust Bill O'Neill on there, I think I'll do at least as good a job as Bill O'Neill. And then when it comes to scrutinizing the budget and making sure they're not wasting money, I don't know that anyone's more qualified on this board than myself. Hope that answers your question.
Jason, your follow-up?
No, it's just a concern of mine. I mean, ultimately, he's missed more meetings on the Board of Selectmen than all the members combined, so I was just concerned, just simply asking a question, Dan.
What else did I miss?
Okay, Kathy, anything?
Well, Dan, you didn't come to the meeting before the town meeting when we were meeting inside.
I took a vacation after tax season, and there was nothing pressing on that issue other than you, what was that? When you, got rid of the consultant job there, you pulled a fast one? Yeah.
No, I'm not
Yeah,
talking
okay.
about that meeting, Dan. I was
Okay.
talking about the meeting prior to this year's annual.
Yeah, you guys
town
can be as petty as you want. That we got a motion before the board.
Mark, you got anything?
Nope.
I don't have anything. All right, we're ready for a vote. We'll take a vote. No further discussion. Jason?
No.
No. Kathy?
Yes, with the provision that we reports back on what goes on, so we know what's going on.
Yes. Dan?
Yes,
Mark?
reluctantly.
Yes.
And I'm yes. Four in favor, one opposed. Thank you. Next up, 1 Garrison Street, release of lien to indicate the town of Groveland has no interest in a lien for the the Georgetown Groveland Housing Improvement Program. Maybe you can just give a quick synopsis.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So essentially, there was a program under the federal housing and
Can you turn your mic on?
Oh, I'm sorry. Move it
Sorry.
close. If you don't put it really close, it doesn't go through.
So there was a program under the Federal Housing and Urban Development Department for Housing Improvement Program with Georgetown and Groveland back in the 80s. And essentially, they provided funding and monies for homeowners who met certain income qualifications to do renovations to their homes. That program is no longer in effect. And those individuals who had received these fundings had a lien on their property in order to ensure that the work and the monies had been spent and were completed per their agreement. Essentially, there's been a couple of homeowners who have not gone through that process and have discovered this issue when they go to sell the property. So I was contacted by a realtor who was looking to sell this particular piece of property and asked us to release the lien. It didn't really make sense to me too much because the lien isn't held by the town of Groveland. It's held by the Georgetown Groveland Housing Improvement Program. So I contacted town council and they had indicated that it was a mechanic lien and it's not necessarily for the town to release. However, the realtor had stated that this has been delaying the sale of the property for quite some time now, and some of the other properties have received a release in similar situations in the town of Georgetown. And so after further consultation with town council, they had determined that if the Board of Selectmen wanted to, they could sign a release form as drafted in the one in your packet. He said he couldn't guarantee that it would be sufficient. However, he didn't see any harm for the board proceeding with such.
Any questions, Rebecca? None. Don't you want to make a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to authorize the chairman, Ed Watson, to sign the release of property lien and agreement for 1 Garrison Street, Groveland, Massachusetts, with the record owner of Miriam Lisby.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And Mark will second it. Any further discussion? None. Ready for a vote. Jason?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
He said sure.
That was a yes.
Oh, a yes.
Sure.
Mark?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you. The ARPA update, Bagnell Plumbing evaluation. And Rebecca, you had something on that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So essentially, we received the plumbing evaluation from the consultant that the town hired to evaluate the current lead and drinking water situation over at the elementary school. They proposed a couple of fixes, and those are included in the report that's in your packet. Specifically, if you turn your attention to the estimates, you'll find the first one is for $414,990. This is to essentially repipe the entire school. So that's essentially one of the biggest issues, is that the piping and the solder that was used has lead in it, and therefore, no matter how much you try and replace bits and pieces of it without doing the whole system, it's still going to remain. The second is for the drinking fountain upgrade. That's for $74,960. That is for the fixtures, the drinking water fixtures. There's actually a grant available that we can proceed with to try and see if they'll fund that portion of the project. That was one of the reasons that we had originally explored this study. So I think it's definitely a possibility that we would receive that funding. The next is $424,771, and that's for their service entrance upgrade. So currently, there's no lead in the service lines. However, the actual infrastructure in the ground is very old and in dire need of replacement before it fails. So as part of their evaluation, they had determined this as a problem factor, and therefore they wanted to include that as a price estimate for us to consider. And then the last two are add alternates. They're not necessarily needed per se. So the first one is for $615,239. That's to upgrade all of the plumbing fixtures themselves, so the faucets and things of that nature. And the other is the kitchen service area filter for $195,609, and this would just add filtration to the kitchen area water service. The service is fine, but it was just recommended by the engineer. So those are the two ones that are not necessarily needed at this point in time, but something for the town to consider in the future.
Any questions for Rebecca? Jason, you have any questions?
No.
Kathy?
No, I think we just need to figure out what we're going to fund here.
Dan, you have anything?
How much money we got?
So as part of the American Rescue Funds that we have available is only about, $600,000 approximately after everything that's been allocated thus far. So obviously it wouldn't cover the entire cost of the project. But if I had to make a recommendation, I would definitely suggest that the board move forward with repiping the school to eliminate the lead in the school in its entirety. And then we can slowly start to, again, continue to fund improvements every fiscal year as we've done for the last 5 years, and set aside, some monies for them to slowly work off and get rid of all of the asbestos, update their heating system. And if we wanted to, we could proceed with trying to cover a larger project if we wanted to a bond of some sort. So that initial project would be $414,990 just to repipe the school. And then we could proceed with the grant for the $74,960. And then we would just need to, again, look at other options for funding the service entry upgrade that's not exactly needed at this time, but something to keep in our radar. So that would still leave the town with some monies in the American Rescue Funds if there were other projects or other things that came about.
So we have money for school area domestic water piping replacement and the drinking fountain upgrade. You said there was a grant available for that specific?
Yes, under the American Rescue Fund, under the state, so Massachusetts DEP, they have grant funds available for drinking water, and I believe that this would qualify, and I believe we'd have a very compelling case to get those funds. So those wouldn't come out of our funds. We could get, hopefully, the state to help us pay for that. So I would only suggest at this point, utilizing the $414,990.
Can we use that drinking water approach on the $195,000 for the kitchen area water service entrance? Because I would imagine that water in the kitchen goes into things you eat. Could we connect those two and see if that'll fly?
We could take a look at utilizing that for that as well,
Right?
if the board wanted to.
I mean, if they make soap, they're using the water.
So the service is fine, but if you wanted to add the additional filtration, we could definitely do that.
I'm just wondering if the state will foot the bill on that without us using up the other funds.
We can definitely see if they would.
Yeah, I think that's worth a shot, because if they paid for those two, then we have money, $400,000 for the rest, and that gets us there, doesn't it?
It does.
Some of the parts is,
Smart.
huh? Just thinking.
No, I think that's a good idea.
Drinking water, what's drinking water? Everything in my kitchen.
There you go. I can reach out to the state and see if they would cover both the kitchen and as well as the drinking fountain upgrade. And see if they would even do some of the fixtures.
I can make a joke, but, I drink out of the faucet sometime. In the kitchen. Thank you.
Mark, you got anything?
No, he pretty much touched base on what I was kind of thinking. Because we got that brand new water main that we put in. It's not brand new anymore, but the highway and the water department did themselves when we did that new addition. So, just curious on why we wouldn't use that instead of the old one on the other side of the building. I mean, where is it right here? The water service entrance upgrade. I mean, if we got a brand new 12-inch main that's under 10 years old, why wouldn't we go off that instead of the old one that's crap?
I can reach out to the water and sewer superintendent and get some more feedback and see if there's a specific reason, and also reach out to the engineer and see what their thought process was. I really just wanted to bring it before the board to give you more information as requested, and if the board would like to sit and gather more information as to what the grant would cover and whether or not what's the deal with the upgraded infrastructure already, I'd be happy to report back to the board at the next meeting.
Hey, Rebecca, bringing attention to page 5 and 6, the pictures. Are these, am I looking at some asbestos on these pipes? Do you know, did the building inspector take a look at that?
He did. He didn't mention any asbestos
The
in the
one,
piping.
the school recirculation pumps, I'm just concerned there might be asbestos on there, and I didn't see anything in their quotes, if it is, to remove that. And the same thing with page 6, on the both pictures.
Having known that the school has asbestos in it and the tiles and things of that nature, I would be hard-pressed to say that they wouldn't have commented on that or thought of that, but I agree, we can definitely confirm that that's the case.
Okay. All right, so you'll bring that back at the next meeting. You had something, Kathy?
Yes, I do. Actually read through the report, and I think they did a really good job identifying the priorities, and I agree with the town administrator that the $414,990 is the highest priority, and next door to that would be the grant for the drinking water. And the kitchen area, they said that the kitchen incoming water service is in good condition, shows minimal signs of corrosion. The schooling, then kitchen domestic water heating was in good condition. And water quality testing on all the plumbing fixtures in 2017 failed at the drinking fountains. And so I feel that the grant, looking for that grant for $23,400 is more important than the kitchen at this juncture based on this report. And based on what they're saying the quality of the kitchen is and the amount of corrosion in the kitchen in this report. So like I said, they did a great job of highlighting what the priorities should be. And I think Rebecca did a great job in pulling out what we can afford to pay for. So I would make the motion for the $414,990 for the piping, to get rid of the piping there that has the lead in it, and go after the grant for the drinking water fountains as soon as possible.
Rebecca, how long is it gonna take them to do this?
I'm not certain. I would have to go ask for their timeline. I don't know what the leadway is with some of the supplies. I know that it's been very difficult for construction right now in order to get your hands on the materials that you need, and pricing has also been an issue for contractors. I know when we were just replacing the water main over on King Street, there was like a year out wait time to get some of those materials that they needed for the project, so I don't know for certain.
Okay, anybody else got any comments? Jason?
No, this time.
None? Oh, well, actually, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second on the motion, Kathy's motion?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to add one thing about the water fountains in the report. If you look on page 9 of 9, I mean, it's the replacement of those water fountains with this, whatever, a triple clear force field filter is provided with the new fountains, removes 98+% of lead, which is really good. So that's why going after that grant, I think, would be fantastic in the short term.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second on Kathy's motion?
I'm still reading.
Do you want me to say what the motion is again?
Sure, you can repeat the motion.
Okay, it's on the page one of one, it's the $414,990. That's shown there for the replacement of all the piping, and that's where they found the majority of the problems.
Okay, the motion is,
I'll second that.
a motion and a second.
Something accomplished.
Any discussion? Dan?
Yeah, the other parts of the project, I mean, do we need to wait and see, Rebecca, or to see if we can get that, or we could just add that on later?
I think we have time to explore once we get some of those questions answered as to what the grant covers, what the timeline for the grant is, when the grant opening is. So I think that you'd be able to phase the project if you wanted to take that approach, seeing how far you get with each step.
Okay, so we could start with this and wait and see on the other part, and we'd still have some money left over if we needed it.
Exactly. In the ARPA funds, you have until 2024 to allocate the money, but you have until 2026 to spend the money. So we still have time in order to find projects and to find what we want to, or at least you could allocate it if you needed to, if time came to that. And then you still have another 2 years to actually spend the money. So there is time.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? None, ready for a vote? We got a motion, we have a second. Jason?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay,
And
motion carries unanimous.
make a secondary motion on the water fountain
Second motion on the water fountain.
to authorize the town administrator to go after grant funding. And I just want to double check with you, Rebecca, on the page, it totals up to $74,960. So do you think there's any possibility we get that much? Or are we just trying to do some of these things? It's on page, it says one, everything's page one of one, but it's the second
For the
page.
drinking fountain upgrade? Yep.
Yes, that's the drinking fountain, the demolition, the electrical, single drinking fountain, bi-level drinking fountain, and then the point of use bubbler filters, that's 23,400. But the total down below is,
The 74,960. And that includes a 10% contingency.
yeah, overhead profit. I don't- So it might be less.
Yep.
So would you be able to just try for a grant to do this and see where we come out?
Yep, so what I would do is I would use this estimate as an attachment to the grant, as well as the report to show that the town has invested in researching and doing its due diligence to figure out what best course of action we should take. And then obviously that's the amount that we would request, and we'd have backup. So I think we'd be in good
Okay.
shape.
So I make a motion for Rebecca to pursue a grant to do the drinking fountain upgrade as shown on this page one of one, which is priced out at $74,960.
The motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Dan?
No.
Mark?
Nope.
Kathy?
Nope.
Jason?
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, that's my vote.
Oh,
What did he say?
oh,
That was his vote.
Oh,
all right, so I guess there's no further discussion. Jason votes yes. Kathy?
yes.
Dan? Yes. Mark?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Or Rebecca to pursue a grant.
Gotta
Thank you.
love Zoom. So do you want me to untable?
If we can.
Okay. Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to remove from the table the patrolman's contract, because the town administrator was able to bring us copies of it if we wanted to take a minute and review it. It wasn't in our packet,
This is on the ratifying the contract, the police
Yes.
contract.
and so I'll pass down to you these.
It's
Okay.
only 2 pages. It's not very detailed, and there's only 2 changes, really, 2 to 3 changes in there from their original contract.
So I would make a motion to remove from the table. I would need a second on that.
The
in order for us
motion,
to do this.
motion to remove the table on the ratification of the police contract. We now have it. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second. Any discussion? None. Jason?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yeah.
Mark?
Yep.
Myself, yes, unanimous. So, we have the Groveland Police Patrolmen's Association contract, which will be effective July 1st, and expiring would be in 2025. And take a few minutes to read it over. Okay, everybody had enough time? Yeah, Dan, you had a question?
Yeah, within each fiscal year, there are steps. Sorry. Within each fiscal year, there are 3 steps. What's the criteria for each step? Is that defined somewhere?
Do you have that answer, Rebecca?
It depends on their step within the department, like their rankings.
So just like patrolman, lieutenant, sergeant, something on that idea.
Yes.
Oh, there were only 3 steps.
It's not yearly, that, where they start out at step 1, and then the next year they go to step 2, and then the third year they go to step 3?
No, my understanding was that, I mean, it's different than the superior officers, but there's different, so not necessarily lieutenants and sergeants and things of that nature, but that they're categorized by the amount of time that they've been with the department, and some of the certifications and qualifications that each of them hold. So like you have like a certain grade of employees, and then after you get a certain amount of achievements, you step up to a different grade. So there's 3 grades within the department based upon those qualifications.
So who determines what step they're in?
The police chief.
How sure are you on that? Generally, it's year of service. When they first get on the department, they're at step 1. And then the next year, they would go to step 2.
Well, as a department head, I would say that he would determine that they've met those qualifications and they would be in that grade.
Has that been the long-established practice of this town, or is this something new? 'Cause
This is not new. None of that's changed. The only things that, those are actually in the current contract, except for the amounts. Those steps are in the actual contract. So it really is just the, boldface type that's being changed for this next, like this contract for the next 3 years.
I just want to make sure that the steps are defined so that people, you know, understand whether they qualify or they don't, so there is not an ambiguity where there's two possible, or more, viewpoints on it. So is it defined somewhere within the contract?
It is defined as part of the collective bargaining agreement that
Okay.
we have with the police. The only thing that they're asking is that the 2% be added to those step increases,
And this will be incorporated with that?
incorporated into the original document. And I
Fine.
have the original document that I can share with you in regards to the grades as well.
That answer your question?
It does answer my question. So the definition's in the collective bargaining agreement, it's elsewhere. So these are just the changes to those line items on the steps.
Anybody else? Jason, you have any questions? Does Jason
Sure.
have a copy of this?
Yes, I emailed Jason. Did you receive that?
I got it. Yes, thank you.
Any questions on that, Jason?
No questions.
No questions. Kathy, any questions, comments?
No, the bold print makes it really easy to follow. I'll just, there's the one typo, I got you on that one. And other than that, this is, I assume the longevity is in line with what we approved in the, was it in water and sewer that we did that?
Both the water and sewer and highway.
Yep, so it's in keeping with our other union contracts, so yeah, I'm making a motion to approve this contract as submitted.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second.
Second that.
Any discussion? None. We'll take a vote. Jason?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay. Unanimous. Discussion and possible vote, nothing. Town administrator time.
Mr. Chairman, should we just summarize for the record of the minutes what we've approved so people know?
Excuse me?
Usually you,
Do you want to give a synopsis?
well, we usually do.
Go ahead.
Of the contract. So, it's effective July 1st, 2022, 2% raise to base pay rate. Effective July 1st, 2023, 2% to base rate. Effective July 1st, 2024, 2% to base rate. And then there's an additional wording for outside details, any emergency detail where an officer is called to work after 2200 and before 600 and over 8 hours. Is that how I'm understanding that? They would have 1.5 times the detail pay rate. And then at the end, is that just a $50 increase on the clothing allowance?
Correct.
Okay, so the clothing allowance went from $1,200 to $1,250 per year. And the new Section 5 is in line with our other contracts that after 10 years of service, you receive a longevity payment of $600. After 15 years, a longevity payment of 15 years gets $900. And after 20 years, a longevity payment one time of $1,300. And that's everything.
Okay. Town administrator time. Yeah, Rebecca, do you have anything?
Yes, I just have two quick things. One, I just wanted to share with the board that our new website has finally launched. So residents are now able to navigate the new site, and we are able to share information more efficiently. I feel as though we've got a lot of great feedback on the website so far. There's a way for them to interact with the town through comments. We can share project updates, grant updates, provide more better navigation. So it's really neat, really excited about it, and I hope you guys can take a look at it and see if you agree. Then also, I just wanted to let the board know that today we had a MVRTA ribbon cutting. So we now have a fixed bus route coming from Haverhill downtown by Holy Family Hospital, by Riverside Plaza in Haverhill, and coming over the bridge and now is coming into the town hall complex out to the housing authority out back, looping around and heading back to that other route. So it will be really great for residents to be able to get over to the shopping plaza and have transportation in order to do so.
I got a question on that been asked. Is the bus gonna stop in Groveland Center?
We are looking at bus stops right now, so we're examining exactly where those should be.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Next.
That was essentially it, and then otherwise, just to let you know that we are almost done wrapping up the HVAC work here in Town Hall. There was a supply issue, so we are on hold. We're hoping that those materials will come in next week, and we'll be able to finish the project by the end of July.
Okay. Selectmen's time and reports. Jason, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Kathy?
Yeah, I had a couple of things. Okay, so I had a meeting on Thursday, June 23rd with Mike Dempsey and Jen, and we did a site walk at 46 Washington Street. I think he feels we're on schedule to have the survey done by the fall. He's sitting right there, he'll correct me if I'm wrong, and perhaps landscaping by the fall. We talked about landscaping that would require little or no maintenance because of the steep slope and that grassy hill there, to try and put some kind of ground cover there that could just grow and not be a bother to people to have to maintain. Then also on June 23rd, I did have a meeting with the town planner, Annie Schindler, to review the scenic road bylaw that was brought up at our meeting about 6 months ago, that is clearly out of date, because it refers to the road study committee as the governing authority, and that no longer exists. So Annie was good enough to do some research and provide some copies of bylaws in surrounding communities that we reviewed. These bylaws look pretty good. I liked West Newbury had a good one, and so did Boxford. So we're moving on to the next step to meet with the electric light company and the highway superintendent, as those parties would have probably the most to do with tree removal and maintenance of scenic roads. So we scheduled that for Thursday, July 14th. I want to comment on the fire. That was good. Oh, and on another note, I was invited to a meeting on Friday, July 15th with Senator Tarr and Sal Lupoli. The town administrator, Rebecca, will be there, as well as our town planner, Annie, will also attend. And then, on a somewhat smaller note, I got my water bill and my town tax bill on the same day in 2 separate envelopes. And I have to say, I know it doesn't add up to a lot. It's $1.06. However, if we could put them together, you know, they both come on the same day. They get at the same time of year. And I know not everybody's a water customer that's a tax bill customer, but I spoke about it briefly when I sat in on the Water and Sewer Department meeting. And I think it's something that Colin feels we could look at. So I brought my envelopes. So it just hit me as funny, you know, to get 2 different envelopes.
And I got the electric bill too. But
But that's monthly. These are quarterly. They come literally within a day or so of each other. So anything to save a buck, you know. So hopefully we can work on that moving forward. That's it.
That's it. Mark, you got anything?
No, I'm good.
Dan?
I got my water bill too, and I'm threatening the kids to, you know, cut down on the showers, or I'm gonna, you know, not pay the bill and have the town shut my water off. So if I don't pay my bill, I'll tell people in advance that's why. But anyways, yeah, it's like $600, and it's not jiggling the handle time. I'm like, I got water savers in there. I'm researching 1 gallon, 1.5s, all this stuff I don't have time for. It's just obscene. You know, it'd be different if I had a garden out back. But anyways, just my perspective. I have all things I can talk about, but I won't.
You'll limit it.
Yeah.
if you want some of them.
I got nothing either. I think we covered that. Older unfinished business, Board of Selectmen's policies and procedures. Kathy, this was, you and Jason were working on that?
Correct. We have worked on it, and we did provide kind of a draft of the beginning of these policies, and I guess I would just like to sort of ask the board to give a friendly vote on this and a thumbs up, and if you want us to continue working on this. Certainly, Mr. Chairman, you can proceed to just run the meeting however you choose, but these are out of Robert's rules. The 5 minutes is like 5 to 10 minutes in Robert's rules. And the reason I settled down on the 5 minutes is I kind of just did the math of it. And I thought, well, what if you had a Board of Selectmen, 5 members, and each one of us spoke 5 minutes? That could happen. We could have a board that does that. It would be 25 minutes for one item. So maybe you get through 3 items in a meeting, but then you still have to do our regular business, which that takes us considerable time. So I thought to have it kind of try and restrain us, including myself, to 5 minutes so that we can become more efficient. And I think to codify these and vote them through and say we're going to do this would bring us all together on the same page. That's my only intention in doing this work. And Jason and I have worked collaboratively on this, and we'd be glad to finish it out and go through the existing policies of the board and incorporate them into this. But I would like a vote of the board about whether or not you're going to adopt this.
Anybody got anything? Comment? Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the, receiving end of a lot of, 4-1 votes, 3-2. So I'm thinking, we should have like a filibuster rule instead, because I think I'd be good at that, But, as far as limiting time, it's not one size fits all. I mean, some issues, we were here at 9:45 on the marijuana dispensary covered in town. It takes more than 5 minutes to hash that out, pun intended. Anyways, so it depends on the importance of the topic. I think maybe we could decide along the lines of, I think, the spirit of what you're saying, Kathy. If I'm wrong, correct me. But, some issues involve more than 5 minutes, and, we can't have 20 things on the agenda that night so that we can address those issues if they're that important. So I don't know that in the spirit of it, I think before we get into something, maybe we make a motion and limit the time at each meeting. I think maybe that would address that issue. But to say we're limited to 5 minutes, I just think we have to play it by ear to some degree to be efficient. So that's my 2 cents on that. The prior draft, you had some language in there about, we can't be political, and my sentiment on that is 90% of what we do is political. Politics is nothing but opinions, okay? We all have them. We all have ideas on what we should spend, what we should spend time on, and that's why there's 5 members on this board and not 1. If we all thought the same, then 4 of us are redundant and should go home. So that's my sentiment on that. The spirit of things, we should be civil, and, that goes without saying, here, there, and everywhere. I'm concerned about, censorship. I'm big on Bill of Rights, First Amendment, and, what's important to me, I want to be heard. So as long as it's protected speech, it's fair game sitting in this chair as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mark, you got anything?
I'm good.
Jason, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, I understand some of Dan's concerns, but this is just more of a guideline of how the meeting should be run, and it's particularly for new members, and it's really a guide. And ultimately, the chair who runs the meeting is the one that makes the decisions, and it's just a guide. It's not there to censor anybody. It's not there to limit anybody's ability to speak, especially on important topics. is just to provide a lot more structure and consistency in the meetings. And it's something that should be in place, like most policy and procedure manuals.
I'd like some time to read these over and, again, look at our current policies and procedures. I don't think I'm ready to vote on this tonight. I'd like to look it over and, maybe come back with some suggestions or some comments. So whatever your pleasure is. I'll make the motion to table this. We'll bring it up at the next meeting and give us some time. We just got this recently. Look it over, take it home, and come back with some questions or comments. I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second it.
The motion to table is a second. A motion to table, Jason, yes or no?
Yes.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Yes. Kathy?
No.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself, yes. 4 in favor, 1 opposed. The tabling, motion carries. Other items not reasonably anticipated at the time of posting. Don't have anything. And correspondence. We don't have anything. Gonna hold anything back. Oh, excuse me. Then motion to adjourn. Next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen will be Monday, July 18th at 6:30. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
A second.
That's in a second. Any discussion? None? Motion to adjourn. Jason?
Yes.
Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Yes. Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Myself? Yes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, people.